The Creative Show, Season 1, Episode 2. Broadcasting live from the darkest corners of the marketing internet, where no tactic is off limits and the conversation always ends with Star Wars and Marvel cinematic trivia. Introducing your hosts, J.K. Kalinowski and Buddy Scalera.
That's right, everybody. This is the second episode of The Creative Show. And while you think it's good to be number one, sometimes it's good to be number two. Sequels, for example, you think they're not as good? I defy you to say that Terminator 2, Toy Story 2, and Spider-Man 2 are not better than the originals. It takes two to tango. The atomic number of helium is 2, and 2 is the smallest, even prime number. This, my friends, is the only show that gives you your 2 times the recommended daily allowance of awesome. Let's get started. Buckle up. The show is about to begin. Let's go, Mo. All right. We're going to go with Mo and bring up Joe.
Hey, there I am.
There you go.
Hey,
this is starting off. We're learning the system, and I think we're going to have a great show, Joe.
We are, and I'll tell you what. I loved your list of your favorite number twos.
Yeah.
Let me show you mine.
Okay.
So first and foremost, you're exactly right with sequels. You can't go wrong. So Post Serial back in the 70s come out with their famous monster cereal line. You know, Count Chocula, but the second one, the best, was Frankenberry.
Strawberry goodness.
Or let's go music. My favorite number 2, the second Kiss album, Hotter Than Hell. You can't go wrong with that. Has my favorite song, Going Blind, on it. Come on. Then finally, the one that's in every geek's heart, buddy. Come on. One that hits it out of the park. Empire Strikes Back. The original best number 2. The best number 2 out of all 9 movies of the Lucasfilm trilogy. The first Lucasfilm trilogy, number 2. Dark, scary for 8-year-old me. It was one of those ones that just blew me away. Seeing Luke get his hand lopped off just blew me out of my seat. It was fantastic. So, but yeah, so those are some of my favorites.
And that is why 2. Yeah, and that's why 2 is a good place for people to be picking up. You didn't miss anything. Well, actually, you did miss a lot from the first episode, but you know what? You're in the best place right now, and I can't be more excited because we have an amazing topic that we want to deal with, and I think I might hear some sounds coming in the background. Do you hear that sound, Joe? I hear a noise. Do you hear it?
Do I hear it?
Maybe it's only coming.
Is it bum bum?
That's the sound. The sound.
Bum 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 bum.
What will be one of the not only is it one of the greatest movies of all time for many, many reasons, but it, for marketing professionals and advertising enthusiasts, gives a great example of what may be the single best movie poster of all time. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to share our enthusiasm for this movie poster. So, Mo, would you pull up the movie poster that we wanted to show, the Jaws movie poster? There you go. So,
there it is.
This is, by the way, we should note, this was an article that we written, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, 2015, actually. I just saw the date. And we talked about how this movie poster broke down, but we did it in words. And here we're going to just do it live with our audience. Can you just talk to me, Joe, first about why you're so excited about this movie poster versus current movie day posters, and then we'll pull up the current movie day posters real quick.
Sure. I mean, obviously, you know, we talk a lot in marketing about visual storytelling, and let's just for a second imagine nothing on that screen except for the water, the girl, and the shark.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's going on. You automatically know what's going on. It is the primary example of pure visual storytelling that I can think of, in modern promotion, modern marketing. Plus, it's just a fantastic, iconic piece of artwork that has been known through, replicated many times. But it's just unbelievable. And, and then what the designers at Universal Studios did to enhance it even more is, just put this big, nice, big, ominous black border around it to draw you in. But we can talk about that a little bit more. But if we want to hop over to the posters of today.
Yeah, what we'd love to be able to see are the modern movie posters of today so that we can do a comparison. Now, Joe, one of the things that jumps at me right away is you almost don't have any idea what any of these movies will be about.
Exactly. Case in point, like, let's look at number one, the last song. Okay, what is that about? You look at this thing and you're wondering, okay, what's it about? What's she looking at? Is there some guy like juggling on the beach or something? She's kind of like looking off the side. Then let's pop over to the center. It's your typical standard action movie poster. There's arrows. We know the Robin Hood story. What's very interesting about this specific poster or this style of poster is a few years ago, I attended an Adobe design conference, and they were talking about their new artificial intelligence and how that they can, start doing some design through the use of AI. They made a poster exactly like that out of AI. The AI searched their photography catalog, put the right filters on it, put the background images in, and boom, we got a poster for a fake movie. It wasn't Robin Hood, but it looked exactly like that poster. So it's cookie cutter.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this, not only is the poster cookie cutter, it depends on you reading the words Robin Hood, which fall pretty far down. Yeah, I can tell that's an arrow. What's interesting is the poses are so remarkably similar of the main characters standing there at a 3/4 pose looking somewhat down on the viewer, and there's no variation. They all kind of look the same. The one on the left, it's got that very sepia tone. You can see, is it a love story? Is it a sad story? Is it something I'm going to watch? But yeah, then you do that color contrast that you see there in the Robin Hood, and you go, okay, whether or not I like Robin Hood or not will determine if I go to see this movie. That's it. It's a binary decision. You like Robin Hood and want to go see it, or you don't. And then I think with all three of them, and you'll jump in, I can see the attempting Jaws part, is it depends on the weight of the celebrity. That is, how recognizable is their face, which of course inflates the budgets for Hollywood films, not, focusing really on the story or the high concept, but rather on the recognizable face of the actor and actress. Did you want to touch on Joy a little bit?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you hit on a topic that I was just going to say. The last movie poster, Joy, which stars Jennifer Lawrence, they're banking on it being Jennifer Lawrence. Of course, they're trying to rip off the Jaws pose, see how she's kind of looking up at the name of the movie. But let's say that you did 17 million commercials that they put on television about this particular movie, and you're walking into a movie theater, or let's say it's a piece of content that you're creating and you didn't put any thought behind this. Would you go see that movie? I mean, you're banking it might be good because it's Jennifer Lawrence and she's a fantastic actress, but you're looking at that and like, I have no clue what that movie's about. It doesn't, that specific piece of content does not tell me a story. That visual is just not doing anything for the promotion of the movie. It's banking on her ability to act, and B, that people have, like consumers have taken in their massive amounts of advertising and campaigns, literature that they put out about that movie before they see this poster.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit, Joe, of brands that make the incorrect assumption that people are familiar enough with their brands that they don't have to explain to a new visitor to their website. Exactly. I have worked on websites where the brand team argued we don't need an about statement. Everybody knows what we are. Everybody knows who we are. And maybe there's a deep vertical where everybody does know who they are, and yet there's still new people that come into every industry and into every business who have to orient themselves to know who the players are. So each one of these fails to tell me, other than maybe the Robin Hood, what this is about. And
Right.
I think what it does is it fails in the early part of the journey where somebody's a seeker, they're looking for information, and or consider if you were going to look at these three movies, if you specifically wanted to see an action movie, the decision's clear. But if you were not decided on an action movie, which one's more compelling, Last Song or Joy? I have no information about either of those.
Correct. Yep. That's
So,
it.
so I think one of the things that you and I had discovered about the Jaws poster, and Mo, maybe you could pull up that Jaws poster, the first image. I think what we saw here, Joe, was initially what we thought was very just basic, simple storytelling, and then we just realized how unbelievably sophisticated this is, from typography to color usage to the way it controls the eye on the page. You want to start off by just giving us some orientation. Let's start with color, I think, because you always have a great sense of how color is used.
Sure, thank you, Bud. Well, obviously, we're dealing with primary colors here. You got the red, the white, the blue. It's very simple and striking. You're putting the red. I mean, there's so much implication behind the use of color, obviously underwater, and half of the movie is underwater from a visual standpoint. But what's very interesting is Breaking the Plane is this swimmer that's swimming left to right as your eye follows left to right. We traditionally, we can talk, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but traditionally, as we all know, we read left to right, we have this kind of Z pattern that we follow with our eyes, over, down, back, over, down, back. Well, what makes this so compelling is not only does the blood red of the letters obviously is blood, they're making the person looking at the artwork assume that that's going to be blood,
right.
That what's happening in this photo. And they're showing some wonderful motion by the use of, the inertia of the shark coming up and the splashing of the girl. But the Z pattern makes it even better because you're coming right. If your eyes follow down, you go right, left, down into the shark, right into the shark's mouth, right into the jaws. So you're automatically getting forced back up because he's swimming up so fast. But the great thing about this, and I said it before, Buddy, is you don't have to put anything else on this photo or on this poster. People know what is happening. People are going to walk into a movie theater because they want to see if that girl gets eaten.
Yeah, and it's and I think what is really great about it is all the neutral space, the negative space rather, of the white that draws your eye down to the woman swimming, and then the darkness beneath. I think what it does is it tells a simple story. It doesn't try to tell 10 stories.
Right.
The Robin Hood image, so busy. But as you had noted in one of our conversations, when this originally came out in 1975, a lot of people were seeing this in black and white, in a newspaper, in a small or even a full page. But ultimately, this told the same story no matter where you put it in. The block type, and then the trapping around the black, around the image, around the poster, really drove your eye into this claustrophobic story that was very clear and only tried to tell one story. And Mo, would you pull up the next image? Because I think the next image shows the Z pattern that Joe and I were talking about. So, Joe, you guide us through this. Guide us the way the eye would read this story.
Sure. I mean, obviously, let's say you come across this poster and start right there at one. You see the blood red logo. You're reading the word Jaws immediately right across, and then hey, what's that? Your eye just falls a little bit lower, and you see the woman splashing in the water. Then what happens is you immediately look down. Normally we go, on a diagonal, but you look down because you see the tip of the shark coming up. Then it just pulls you right through. You see the teeth pushing up. That was very interesting about this. And I have a little piece of history behind the actual painting that artist Roger Castell did for the poster, which subsequently turned into the novel. Like this book, obviously this movie was a novel before it was optioned as a movie or to Hollywood. And it had a completely different cover. With the success of this movie poster and this artwork, they reprinted all the books, paperbacks with this artwork on the cover. And it became a bestseller again after the movie. But what's really interesting is the artist Roger Castell went and studied. We didn't know a lot about great white sharks in 1970, whatever. 1970, probably 3 or 4 when he painted this. You know, there were some books out and stuff like that, but they didn't have Shark Week. They didn't have Air Jaws or whatever. You know, you kind of went to the Natural History Museum or kind of figured out what you could do from a book. So the artist went to the Natural History Museum and studied a great white, a scale model of a great white shark, and sat underneath it, looked up, and come up with this idea. But what we see here is the artwork. But the very interesting thing is, those aren't great white shark teeth. Those are more of like a mako or a different kind of shark, because what those teeth do are nice and thin and able to point you back up. We all know, like from watching like Air Jaws and all that stuff, Shark Week, you know, you got these like real dull, big triangles for a great white. But these teeth are nice, sharp, because they look more ferocious and they look more pointy to make you draw your eye back up. Everything just is a circular motion. If you notice, it's kind of like a circular motion. You see the jaws, you see the girl, you see the mouth, and then you go right back up. And here is a little point that you can tuck back into the back of your brain for a piece of pop culture trivia that you can just whip out at a cocktail party at some time and people think you're really cool. Is the original painting for this from Roger Castell was stolen, and nobody knows where it's at. In the mid 70s, he sent it off. All the production was done. It was hanging in a gallery. Someone from Hollywood requested the artwork to be sent back for more production. They were going to do more posters or whatever. They needed to do more photography of it, and he never got it back. He doesn't know where it's at. The folks at Universal don't know where it's at, but everybody just assumes it's sitting in some exec's office or hanging above a fireplace somewhere.
Well, Joe, let's hope that eventually it is returned to its rightful owner. One key thing, and let's just take it back to our marketing audience. Sure. I think what this poster does very well is it knows its audience. It's not trying to target an audience that's looking for a famous actor or actress. It's not trying to pivot off of tugging your heartstrings. What you see here is a movie that is targeted towards an audience that's like, I'm ready to be scared. Let's go have some fun. And that's what it delivered on. And I think it was truth in advertising. It was very clear. A lot of movie posters, you cannot tell what it's targeting. As we said in the earlier posters, who are they for? What are they for? Other than the action movie, which you were able to rule out, you couldn't tell what those other two posters were. The joy could have been sad. It could have been touching. It could have been a comedy. Nobody really knows. Yeah. And I think what we have to do and keep in mind when we are designing images for our site or for social media, people are looking very, very quickly. And what we need are images that disrupt and quickly tell a story. And then if people want to dwell a little further, move along their journey, we can guide them, because there are many, many ways to continue people, guiding people once you have them on a journey and you have them interested.
Sure. I mean, and you're exactly right, buddy. That's exactly what this poster did. It was a stark enough image. You knew what you were getting. It got them in the seat. And then think of it like, hey, if it's an image on your website or an image in your social media, grab them, bring them in, and then tell your story.
That's right. And Joe, it looks like we're out of time for this segment. We're going to be on the next segment in a second. Sure. So Mo, why don't you pull that poster down, do a 2 of me and Joe, and we're going to show our favorite Jaws merchandise right now, other than the one you're wearing on your shirt. Joe, what do you got? And then I'll show you mine.
Okay. This I received for Christmas a few years back from my lovely daughters. It is my official Bruce the Shark action figure. I don't know if you can see him.
Yeah, it's still in the box, Joe. Are you not taking it out of the box? What's going on?
Come on, buddy. You know me. I can't. I don't have the heart. Look at this wonderful packaging. It's the best.
You do like your packaging. Well, let me show you mine.
Sure.
I did this in middle school with my dad.
Oh my God.
We had to do a diorama, and we made a full shark. You can actually see people being eaten there. This has never been shown anywhere except.
Oh, buddy, that is fantastic.
I cherish this as something my dad and I made together.
I love it.
One of one in the world, Joe.
It's perfect, man.
Isn't it? It's great. So now we have it on the show. But
nice,
Joe. Thank you for talking about the image strategy for the Jaws poster. But now we're going to pull up another image, and we're going to be calling this segment "What's in the Box," Joe. And you, audience, people who are still with us, who haven't quite left yet, you're going to play a little game with us. Joe, as you can see from the background, buys, I don't know, something every day. And actually, the shark and the shirt are actually part of the show. It's a tax write-off. But Joe, you're going to vote now. Joe has 3 boxes in front of him. You can't see it. What did Joe buy? What did Joe create? Or what did Joe do? So you're going to put in the chat, buy, create, or do. And Joe is going to pull out something from his box at your vote. And I don't know what the vote is because I can't see them. That's a great, thank you, Celeste. That is a great dad, isn't it? My dad was pretty awesome. I'm just noticing the chat. I always hide the chat in case people are like, these guys are terrible. I don't want to look at it. All right, our audience isn't used to voting. They don't realize how much control they have over Joe. They can actually make Joe almost do anything. Joe, right? I'm gonna pick box number 2, just for fun.
Okay, box number 2 is something that I bought. Something that I bought this week.
Something like. It's assuming that you only bought one thing this week.
Only one thing, right? Well, what I'll feature in box number 2 because it's something that's so cool. I
take the money. Joe, you have to look at the comments. People are funny. Take the money.
Oh my God. I love it. This week I purchased myself a new pair of sunglasses. I'm a runner, and I frequent my running store locally here in Lakewood, Ohio, and they had a box of, I've used this product before. They're called Gooders, and these Gooders sunglasses partnered with the Rolling Stones to create Rolling Stone sunglasses. Now, how could I not get a pair of Rolling Stone sunglasses? To boot, that comes in the coolest packaging ever. It comes in a cool little box, but then once you open the box, it's got the Rolling Stones brand.
How excited you are about the packaging. Like I just open it and it's
dork. And then it comes in a little cool Rolling Stones Gooder bag, fabric bag. But then here's the sweet part, man. Give me 2 seconds.
You haven't even gotten to the thing yet.
Well, here we go. Start me up, baby.
Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy running in Cleveland with those. Oh, I love him.
I could be listening to Start Me Up and just kind of work my way down, doing my Jagger moves while I'm running down the sidewalk, waving to people. Come on, man.
You win. You win. Well, those are beautiful, and I love them. But I think we're just about out of time, and I'm glad that you were able to get to those items. First, Mo, can you pull yourself up on this? Because we need to know, where can people find out more about this? Where can they see a replay? And where can they learn more about where they can see us again in the future if we haven't alienated people yet? You're muted.
There you go.
I just made like a Zoom faux pas.
I know.
The live stream faux pas. You can watch Buddy and JK the last Friday of every month on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And then, of course, on all 3 of the platforms, you can watch a replay if you have to miss us and can't put us into your calendar.
That's awesome. And Mo, while I still have you on, where can they find you on social media? Yeah, if they want to follow you.
Well, I'm Monina W on all platforms. So Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. But usually you can find me behind the Content Marketing Institute handle. So you can come and say hi to me there.
On Tuesdays.
Always.
Always. And Joe, where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me hiding out in my cave normally, but social, you can get me at JK Kalinowski on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Joseph Kalinowski on LinkedIn. And then I'm hanging around the halls of CMI at all times. So
in the halls working from home, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And my name is, hold on, before I do that, you can see the article that we reference there at cmi.media/JAWS. So if you guys want to check out that article and see it in greater depth, we encourage you to do so. You can find me in all places at Buddy Scalera, buddyscalera.com, Buddy Scalera on Twitter, and of course, Buddy Scalera here on LinkedIn. Thank you all for joining us. Big shout out to our producer Mo and to my partner JK. We will see you in a month, and thanks so much for joining us for the second episode of The Creative Show.